Hi, this is John Ondo from Marketing Media and Cupcakes. And before we get into today's episode, I just want to say thank you so much for listening. We're back after being gone for over 4.5 years. And I hope you get a chance to listen to episode 77, where we explain why we were gone for so long and that we're back for at least 3 more episodes. Angel and I are big supporters of entrepreneurship, and we love small businesses and faith-based businesses. And we just want to encourage you through our podcast each week. What's going to determine if we continue with more episodes will be the response. Subscribe to us on your platform. Send us an email at john@ondomedia.com. That would help us know you're listening and you want more episodes. So thank you so much, and let's get into today's episode.
This is the small business podcast that is sweeter than all the rest. Marketing, media, and cupcakes.
Hello, this is John, along with my beautiful wife, Angel.
Hi there.
She has a cupcake business on the side, and she's a customer service pro with a big corporation that's going back to work next week. They started already, but you go back to the office next week.
I'm in the Hunger Games Part 2.
It's going to be interesting. What are some of the fears you have with going back? And
well,
I know you have several, but just kind of give me the top one.
It's the protocol. That's really the protocol.
Taking temperatures, wearing masks.
It's all of that. It's just I have a different view of the situation, which is counter to what the other view of the masses appears to be. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a struggle for me to fall in line. You
don't live in fear like those some do.
No.
And I understand those who live in fear, but I
respect that.
We respect it, but
then stay home.
Now, for the past 14 weeks, you have a system. You have a big company, so you guys have like the Cisco stuff and the crazy stuff that's really highfalutin and complicated to do your meetings and everything.
Yep.
But a lot of people did not have this, and some people, as I'm working with clients who we were just kicking the can down the road. We're gonna get back to normal next week. We're gonna get back to normal next week, and now they've just found out. No, they're not going back to the end of the year, maybe if that, and they're freaking out because they don't have processes to do their work from home.
Correct.
So that's why it's appropriate today that our guest is the queen. I call her the queen of processes.
Woohoo!
It's my good friend Brittany Dixon, who also has a podcast, the Process for Profit podcast, which is a great podcast you need to listen to. And Brittany, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, we want to confirm processes with you because I'm a process guy. I like a plan so that I can ad-lib a little bit when I can ad-lib. When you have a process, in my opinion, that gives you the freedom to ad-lib a little bit and to be flexible. Does that make sense?
If you are of that mindset.
Yeah.
And I say that only with a twitch in my eye. Thank God we're not posting this because I have individuals. Oh, I'm sorry. As in the video part.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So
what are we doing here?
I have individuals that take the process, in my personal opinion, to a degree that is unhealthy.
Oh, the legalized processes.
It's on page 4, section 2. And when they send it to me, I'm like, that is the biggest bunch of BS I just read. There is nothing in that is actually what I just asked.
So we're going back to Office Space and the TPS reports at that point. Yeah, so
a little bit.
Okay, so let's let Brittany talk a little bit here. So Brittany, you work from home like me and Angel a little bit. What is the thing you have found talking to others that they've needed to figure out, especially now? I mean, it's one thing to kind of skip along for a few weeks with the shutdown, but now that it looks like a lot of businesses are saying, we want you to work from home from now on. It's easier. What are you dealing with people coming to you saying, I don't know what to do or I can't handle this?
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, I think it's a lot of time management, which when you're in a corporate environment or somewhere that they're kind of structuring that for you, that makes it a lot easier. But then when you're at home and you can do laundry between meetings, time management can get lost very, very quickly. Also having like a separate workspace and not just working from your couch because it's not the most productive place.
Should we say
experience
where your boss has been working?
Well, that is where my boss had been working for a large number of weeks until most recently because she's had to go to the chiropractor because she's done something to her back.
Oh, goodness.
So, and again, that was stated because she spent too much time
on the couch
using
the laptop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it happens.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, I think a lot of it is time management and really managing your routine and managing your day. A lot of it is not having a designated workspace and kind of just being all over the place. I also see a lot of people just not having any kind of routines in place and kind of just winging it and jumping from meeting to meeting, but not actually having any kind of structure in their day. So, yeah, I mean, like you said, I work from home. I've worked from home, so none of this was a shock for me. The only thing that was a transition was the children being home, homeschooling. So that was interesting.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, that was a whole process in itself.
I can only imagine.
You've got twins for those who
I do. I've got twin 7-year-olds, so they are in first grade. And while you wouldn't think that first grade homeschooling would be that difficult, there was not much structure, not very many processes to make that happen. So
I can only imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I was already used to it. I was already there. I already had structure. I already had things in place. But I think a lot of people, it's a lot of time management and kind of designating their day to still be work, even though they're at home.
Because this is new. This is nothing we've had to deal with before. People who wanted to work at home got to work at home or forced. Now we've got people who really don't want to work at home that are being forced to work at home. And it's a new problem, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And I mean, I think there are definitely advantages to working from home. Obviously, you don't have the commute time. Like you said, you're not in meetings or talking to people or constantly like chatting and that kind of thing. So I do think there is some definite benefits to it. I did a lot of virtual networking during this time frame, which was very interesting. There's some really awesome platforms out there, but even just hopping from coffee chat to networking event to coffee chat, there was a lot of efficiency in that because before you would have to schedule buffer time to drive from place to place. So, I mean, I definitely see some benefits to it, but I think it is a struggle, especially if you came from corporate and you're moving into this like work from home space. I feel like it's completely different than entrepreneurs that maybe worked in an office that are now at home. It's kind of just a different mindset. I've actually heard a few people, they're like, oh, it must be nice to work from home. And now they're doing it and they hate it.
Yeah.
They're like, never mind. I need some structure back.
I was like you. Angel was telling me of some friends that she worked with who are absolutely hating it. And I'm like, how could you hate this? This is so much easier. But I do understand that. I don't know if it's a separation anxiety or whatever, but your safe place, your home, has been invaded by work now, and so that I understood a little bit. And I do have a separate area with my office. What are some of the hacks you recommend? Are there, in addition to just having a separate space and things, are there software things that we can be doing or scheduling wise that keep track of your time? Or what happens if you're just an anarchist and you don't want any kind of structure to anything? Anything we can help with on that?
Yeah, I mean, I am always a advocate for project management tools. I think now more than ever, those softwares have probably skyrocketed in people using them just because to have a remote team and to work in different offices or different home spaces, you kind of have to have something to be able to pass tasks off to someone and to be able to manage and see who's doing what. So I definitely think that project management tools come into place. I mean, there are time tracking apps. There are apps out there that will allow you to do like the Pomodoro method where you're doing 25 minutes of very focused time and then you take 5-minute breaks. So there are a lot of tools and softwares that can help with this, but I think project and task management is probably the biggest one, especially for teams that are working remotely now.
So that comes back down to supervisors, though. I mean, if you're, and I guess somebody who's in the middle of the management could go up the chain and say, hey, this would really help if we had some structure, because it really does have to come from the top down. If there's not structure, it's not going to take, is it?
No, I mean, it definitely does. And I use it with my team and that's how we communicate. And it's honestly like I had to put that system in place for that to work. But to be able to have a remote team and work from home and not have to go meet in an office somewhere, it just makes it the most efficient. But it does have to be something that the whole team is using. It can't just be like pieces and parts.
Brittany, you're a coach, you're a small business owner, an entrepreneur. Tell me a little bit about your team and how you manage them through project management software.
So I've got the podcast, like you mentioned. I do free content, that type of thing. I also have workshops that I teach, and then I do projects and then consulting. So I do like operations management for a couple different companies. But essentially, I've got my bookkeeper, and then I have an admin person podcast editor, Mr. John.
Yes.
And then I have some one-off projects. So I'm actually having someone come in and do ads for me. So they'll come into my project management tool to kind of manage that project. But just the core 4 people right now, and then just one-off people after that. But honestly, like I couldn't do it without my project management tool. Like there's no way I could remember all of that stuff.
Yeah, because it's all scheduled. I mean, it sounds like it's calendar heavy for you with what's going on. Do you get a lot of last minute things that like pop up, like I need to meet with you today, or is it more just you're just scheduling out ahead of time?
Those are mostly scheduled out about a week. I mean, I live in my Google Calendar and my project management tool. Those are essentially the 2 places that I have open all the time when I'm working. I do have some last minute stuff come in, but for the most part, it's all scheduled out at least a week.
Let me have you kind of step into a little bit of Angel's world for a second with cupcakes.
Yeah.
Okay, which everybody loves talking about the cupcakes. So something we've been dealing with, and she gets clients who want to have a cupcake, and they'll sometimes say, "Oh, I want a blue cake." "Oh, you know what? I want a yellow cake." And she takes notes, and then the next thing you know, she'll look at me like, "Was that a yellow cake or a blue cake? They changed it 5 times on me." What are some software hacks that she could do to help her and maybe help the client to be able to go, "Oh, okay, here's the contract or whatever." Some easy ways that isn't, crazy difficult.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, something like Trello or Asana would be perfect for that because you could create a card with a checklist for each person and then attach pictures and things that they send you. Obviously, there's like note-taking apps and stuff like that you could do it in, but really just creating like one central place where you can see everybody. The reason I mentioned like Trello or Asana is because it actually is like a workflow. So maybe if you had people that were interested but hadn't ordered yet, then you have people that maybe ordered that you're waiting on. Then the next person was like ready for pickup or delivery. You can kind of move them through that process, but still have their pictures and all their information kind of attached all in one spot. So you're not checking emails and texts and Facebook Messenger and Instagram Messenger and all the things.
Yeah, because I did have a confusing situation where I had 3 separate people strangely kind of within a day or 2 of one another send me requests through my website. And it was all kind of different people. I mean, I don't think they were bots, different people. And they all wanted, like and it was funny because they're like, "How much are your cupcakes?" Or how much? And I'm like, if you got to me through my website,
it's on the website.
Right.
I have literally a page. There is nothing more than that. So I was kind of confused. And then when I replied, it seemed to, because they all had the same title, all of the replies, even though I replied to this person, they were all like in one string on my phone. And I was like, "Oh my God, who am I replying to? Did I reply to them?"
Oh, because they're coming from the same email address from your website.
Correct. Yeah. Even though they were different people on my iPhone, because they all said that they all had the same title, I guess, which was even stranger. Yeah. All 3 of them were all wrapped into
it was probably a website.
Thread.
You have an order or a comment from the website or something.
And I was like, especially by the 3rd one who wanted to know, they wanted to place an order for $30 worth of cupcakes, but they wanted me to deliver them. And I said, "Well, tell me where." It was an hour drive. I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm sorry, but that's going to be $20.
Yeah.
Well, then I never heard from them again, because why would you want to pay $20 for $30 for the cupcakes? You're not going to do that.
Should we be sending off, as soon as they make an initial contact, a form saying, "Here, pick," almost like we're giving them a menu, "pick what you want and we'll get back with you with a quote"? Or how do you find businesses do the best response?
There's a lot of really great tools that you could use for that. There's one called Typeform that you can have them fill out their name, their information, what they want, how many they want, and they can also attach pictures. And then that can be dropped into some tools like Asana or Trello or whatever to keep track of everybody. I mean, as much as you can streamline that and make it easier for them to order all in one spot and you to manage everything all in one spot, it's going to be easiest for everybody.
Is that something you can text?
You can text the link to it for sure.
Okay. Yeah, that would work.
Okay. Oh, that was my question.
Yeah.
What was the name of that again?
Typeform is one of them.
Typeform. See, Brittany has all the solutions.
I know. I don't know why we haven't asked her sooner. I'm a little bit sad about it.
It took me a while to get her on the
And of
podcast. We
course
just
I
brought her
typed-
on the podcast to answer questions for Angel. So
Correct.
that's
And I just type food and not form because
type food.
I have.
Well, maybe that should be a domain we work on.
I dare say.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
So, Brittany, here's something we've been talking to a lot of our guests lately. A lot of people are in this economy now, and they maybe have lost jobs, or they're furloughed, or they don't know if they're going to come back full strength. What's your feelings for especially people who are like, not really sure I want to go back to my job? Do you feel like this is a good time to maybe consider going to a different job or starting something from home or maybe part-timing it? What's some of your thoughts with the economy right now?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I really feel like, and I was grateful enough to already have this business built when this happened in the online space, but I honestly had more course sales and membership sales during that time frame. So I kind of just shifted my focus to that instead of trying to find one-on-one consulting work. I did feel like that was a little bit harder for me to find just because, and really just the first 3 weeks of it, it kind of simmered down after that. But it was harder for me to find one-on-one consulting retainers versus trying to sell more courses. So, I mean, I definitely think that the digital course piece of business is not going anywhere anytime soon. I think they're estimating that it's going to be like a $4 billion industry in the next 5 years. And it's like $1 billion right now. So that's a big gap to fill. So I definitely think that, especially if you're trying to do something part-time or like figure something out, I think it's probably a really good time to kind of dive in and do that while you've got the chance.
So again, this is what Brittany does. And so if you should not do this by yourself, which is kind of what I did at the beginning. I knew my business, I knew filmmaking and all that, and I had some contacts, but I chose to kind of go it alone and figure out FreshBooks and Quicken and these different systems. And I really could have probably cut about 2 years of what I refer to as nonprofit work before I started making money. Had I had somebody like Brittany back then, but Brittany was probably still working, doing something else at that point, because that was about 10 years ago.
She's probably still in school.
Probably still in school because she's a youngin'. But
close,
the thing,
close.
But so it sounds like, again, if you're out there and you're thinking maybe this is time to start a business, I can't recommend enough having a chat with Brittany, because there are systems and processes that are not difficult. You can do it all from your laptop, and you can get your business running and at least take that part of the nightmare out of the nightmare, I guess, if you want to say it that way.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think if you're good at something, like being good at a business is different than being good at what you're starting the business for. You've got to learn. Those are two completely different skill sets.
That's good, yeah.
Again, just like you, it took me 2 years to figure out a lot of that stuff. And you're either going to pay someone to teach you that faster, or you're going to take the painful, agonizing 2 years and stumble through it yourself and probably still have to pay people to come in and clean up the mess. So there's a lot of pieces that you have to think about when you're starting a business other than what you're starting it for. And a lot of that is the back end operations and how the business is actually going to run, for sure. I started my membership just for that, because there were so many people that I was like, I just want to give you the shortcut. Like, I want to give you all the things not to do so that it gets you there faster, because the business part is what is so hard for people, especially in this day and age, kind of like trying to get that going.
So give us a plug. If I'm a new entrepreneur trying to how does your system work? I contact you and you chat with me, and then how do you go from there with your process?
Yeah, so I mean, we can totally chat. I also have a free webinar that you can watch and kind of see how my style is and how I talk about things and if it's even a good fit. So I'll give you guys the link for that, but it basically walks you through the strategy and the optimizing systems, and then kind of automating and planning all of that out so that it's a lot faster than doing it on your own.
Awesome. And if you want to get to, her podcast is fabulous, and a lot of great guests. As a matter of fact, a couple of the guests I might bring on our podcast, because I kind of liked a couple of them. But it's we've actually shared a few guests back and forth. But tell us a little bit about where we can find you for the podcast, as well as the business and getting involved in your webinars and so forth.
Yeah, for sure. If you go to processforprofit.co/podcast, you can find that. And then if you go to processforprofit.co/shop, the webinar is on there, along with some other freebies and downloads and resources.
Outstanding. So I want to get you back on here in a couple of weeks. I want to talk about email and a little bit of my my PTSD.
That is the number one productivity killer.
Yeah, and I want to find out about a little bit more about what your solutions are to that, because I have issues. There's people that I can't I have to work through emails and I have to work through so I don't even want to get into all of it now
No,
because it's like a counseling session.
I am going to try to stump Brittany
Ooh.
with my email woes.
Okay, and we'll see. She'll be
Dun,
ready
dun,
for it.
dun.
So if you want more information about us, Ondo Media, we do video production, commercials, documentaries, as well as podcast production. And you can find us at ondomedia.com. And Angel's Custom Cupcakes, if you want to take a look at some of her beautiful pastries. Are they pastries technically?
They're amazing, by the way. I stalk you on Instagram. They're great.
Oh, thank you.
She's if you're in Central Ohio, you can partake of those at angelscustomcupcakes.com.
Yes.
And thanks for following us on Facebook as well as Instagram. And we just encourage you to keep living the dream.
Connect with John and Angel via Facebook and Instagram and let us know your thoughts. Marketing, Media, and Cupcakes is a production of Ondo Media.